Hey guys, Thrasher here, and today we're talking about the most broken character in Dragon Ball Legends. Wait, oh shoot, did I ruin the suspense? We're talking about Android 17. Let's get into it right now. Okay, Android 17 is stated to be a defense type unit. He has extremely durable and tanky abilities and stats, but he does a ton of damage as well, and on top of that, he has possibly one of the most overpowered abilities in the game, albeit very hard to use. So let's talk about it right now. If we go over to abilities, we'll see a couple different things here. One, he does have cover change, reduced damage, just like Piccolo, like Krillin. He's a very, very tanky unit. You can use him as a tank on your team. But the crazy thing is, when everyone on your team is still alive, he gets a 25% bonus to his blast damage. His blast stat is phenomenal. He is on par with Purple Vegeta. He does a ton of blast damage. The other two main things to focus on here, he also increases his blast damage through Z ability just like Vegeta does. The difference is Vegeta does it for Saiyans. He does it specifically for purple units. So if you wanted to put Purple Vegeta and this Android 17 on the same team, Android 17 would vastly increase both of their damage. His main ability greatly increases the amount of damage that people will receive from the blast arts that he uses. So on the main ability and Z ability side, he's essentially the Android version of Purple Vegeta, and he's Purple Android 17, except for he doesn't buff Android units, he buffs Purple units. So let's go and look at his arts, because this is where he really shines and what makes him a very hard unit to use. So Barrier, this is his best skill, period, bar none. Let's open this up. This nullifies enemy attacks excluding certain moves like Rising Rush. So you can't use this if someone is trying to Rising Rush you, but if they're using a Ki Barrage or they're using a Strike Arts card, this will absolutely work. And if they use a Strike Arts card, it will knock them back. And as they're knocked back, you can go into a combo into them. So this is essentially like Android 17 has two vanishing steps. This is insane. It can completely change the tide of a battle once you know how to use it. It is very hard to time at first. You have to really get used to using it. It's a very high skill cap. The other high skill cap ability that he has is his special move. Open this guy right here. As you'll see here on the right side, you cannot use this at long range. You have to be at medium or close range, but it is not dodgeable. Assuming that they don't interrupt this ability, it will go off, it will hit them, it will do a lot of damage, and there's a reasonably good chance it'll paralyze them. One thing to mention, although it's not huge, it does increase the strike damage that the unit will take. That doesn't really help Android 17 a ton. One of the things you can do is normally Android 18 will be on the same team as Android 17, so as soon as you use this ability, you probably want to switch to your Android 18 and finish that unit off with strike attacks as they take that 20% bonus damage. If we go look at his stats, he does not have a massive health pool, but his defensive stats are enormous. His blast damage is on par with, like I said, Purple Vegeta. There's no one that's heavily ahead of him in blast damage. He is the premier blast damage unit, and when you couple that with how tanky he is and the fact that he essentially has a second vanishing step, you can see why he is the most broken character in the game. It is unreal, and what's crazy, and we'll talk about this in a second, I think he's gonna get better. So what teams does he fit on? He is such a good unit that I would put him on any team, period. Some teams he doesn't fit as well as he could, and there are ways to better utilize him, but if you have Android 17, put him on your team, period. Now, as far as cookie cutter builds go, I think two of the really good builds for Android 17 is an all Android team with a variant to it. So Android 17, Sparking Android 18, and then you use either Piccolo or Krillin as your third unit. That gives you the added survivability because Piccolo and Krillin can both heal your units back up. It also gives you another cover change character that can help reduce damage. It just makes you a lot tankier in the long run. The other option that I've seen people do is they will put Android 17 on a mono purple team, and there's lots of different ways to set up a mono purple team. Lots of the Legends Rising characters can go on that. Throw Purple Vegeta on there, and you'll have a team that can pump out absolutely unreal damage. And then you also have this Android 17 who can tank the damage for you. It's a pretty ridiculous team, although I would say that the Android team is probably a better bet just because in PvP you're going to run into a lot of all Saiyan teams, and the Android team will absolutely stomp them into the ground. One last thing to mention before I talk about where he sits in the meta, even though I don't think we really need to talk about that. He has two really amazing pieces of equipment that you can use right now. Make sure you get them from the Android event, and I believe one is from PvP. The Hia from the Android event is the absolutely most important one though, because it gives him bonus damage to Super Saiyans. There's lots of Super Saiyans running around right now, so you want to make sure you've got that on there so he absolutely crushes them. Okay, so where does he sit in the meta? He's the best character in the game. Fight me. No, really, he's the best character in the game. All jokes aside, what's crazy is I think when Perfect Cell comes out, he's gonna get even better, because maybe Perfect Cell will be a better character overall, but Android 17 will get even further out in front of the pack, because Perfect Cell is going to have the Android tag, which means whatever he ends up doing, they're going to fit on a team together, and chances are he's going to be an even better unit. It's possible that he may be able to remove Piccolo or Krillin from that last slot on the all Android team, and then you have a full all Android team. But he's not going anywhere for quite a while. It's going to be quite a few banners before this character starts falling off teams. So if you have him, like I said, use him. If you have any questions, if you disagree with anything I said, make sure to throw it in the comments down below. And if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.